Today we bring you a video that will motivate you to keep your pocket in check. We are often advised to keep an eye on what we spend, be it money or any other resources. For fortune, as they say, does not last a lifetime. Well, it appears that this particular advice fell on deaf ears to these rappers. After making a lot of money, rappers tend to indulge in a very luxurious lifestyle, one that tends to include a lot of expenditures. Such a lavish lifestyle would often alter their way of living. Moreover, limited knowledge of the field and engaging in bad partnerships might also result in the drop of the net worth of the rapper. The following video portrays 10 such rappers whose worth once touched the sky, but soon went downhill, leaving some of them bankrupt. Number 10, 50 Cent. However popular I get in the future, if at all, posing with bundles of dollar bills will still not be a priority of mine. Clearly, 50 Cent possessed enough bills to take Instagram by storm with a single picture that has been a source of controversy even days after he posted the image. 50 Cent, aka Jackson, rose to fame in the year 2002 after he ratified a deal with Dr. Dre. Yet the rapper only witnessed fame and fortune after he was discovered by Eminem, who continues to be a sensation to this day. The rapper's net worth was $155 million by the year 2015, but that very same year, he declared himself bankrupt and went $32.5 million into debt. Phew, that's a heavy debt. But it was unlikely that controversy would leave him just yet. Once again, he found himself in a scandal after the release of a sex tape online. The victim caught him by the hook, and he had to pay a sum of $5 million up front. And that's not all. He got fined by Sleek Audio when he copied their designs. His assets amounted to $16 million, with another $16.5 more to go. Number 9, Lil Kim. We all would love to keep our dream mansion safe, but Lil Kim failed to do so. She lost the shelter that once kept her safe from the harsh realities of life. But honestly, paying mortgages is not an easy undertaking, and definitely not if the mansion costs about $3 million. But can you imagine a mansion like that, valued at such a high price, going up for public bid, commencing at just $100? We can totally sympathize with her. Having about $1 million in taxes, she was determined to save her house. She tried to keep up with the mortgage expenses, but in the end, she failed. Therefore, when she filed for bankruptcy, the court felt that she was so extremely deep in debt that it was not even lawfully possible for her to file for bankruptcy. Number 8, Lisa Lopez. Having to borrow money for one's bankruptcy lawyer, that sets a new kind of low for oneself. Moreover, Reason, who was Lopez's then boyfriend, had paid her the sum of $15,000, even though she had burned his mansion after they got into a physical fight. We all have to pay for love, don't we? But it isn't usually such a huge amount of money. Subsequently, TLC, which Lisa Lopez was a member of, engaged themselves in a contract that paid only $50,000 each, even when the album they had already made millions of dollars worldwide. Another contract paid TLC only 56 cents for each copy of the album sold, which again had to be split 3 ways. We can totally understand how meager that amount would have been. Number 7, Bow Wow. Appearances are not always true. This is something we've all heard somehow or other. Bow Wow gave us a prime example of this. He also taught us how social media often does not portray the truth. When he was called upon to pay for his child support, Bow Wow told the judge that he makes the amount of only $4,000 each month. One cannot help but wonder, where did all his money go if he started recording as a teenager at the age of 13? When questioned about the Ferrari that he posted a video of on social media, he confessed that the luxurious car was rented, and all he owned was a Jeep. Number 6, DMX. Here, we have another example of a rapper unable to pay for his child support. DMX owed more than $1 million over child support. I don't know how these rappers go broke and at the same time that they're required to pay for child support. A coincidence? Maybe not. Nevertheless, his passport had been confiscated when his career was at an all-time low. After filing for bankruptcy, he wished to get his passport back so that he could visit places and have a wider fan base to conduct shows that would help him earn money and get back on his feet. Number 5. Fat Joe. Yes, his name was derived from the weight he carried. However, he lost a huge amount of weight when it was deemed crucial. Nevertheless, he started losing money just as fast as he lost 100 pounds. He had signed contracts that made him a significant amount of money, but he visited the bank every day to withdraw $50,000. Until one day, there was nothing left. He was astonished. He spent all his money on his crew members. Yet once again, after he received another huge amount of money, he started splurging on bottles of champagne. In the end, he was left with nothing but regret. He mentioned that Eminem had approached him with a deal which he rejected. When he met Jay-Z, he threw a pitiful look at the necklace he was sporting, but now I bet he wishes he'd planned better, for they have billions and he is left with nothing. Number 4. Nas. Nas had to pay for child support twice in his lifetime, up until now. He had cleared his child support for his first child, but when it was time for the second round of payments, his lawyers argued that $3 million would be too much for him, and the entire payment was lessened to $1.5 million. The house that he had bought with his second wife required him to pay too much in mortgage, which he couldn't afford, and therefore the house got repossessed. Also, he was already millions of dollars in debt due to a tax feud. Nas would love to start rapping again and already has shows lined up for the years 2020 and 2021 with some help from Jay-Z. Number 3. Young Buck. According to recent news reports, Young Buck, a member of 3 Units, has gone broke and has recently reached a saturation point where he's likely to be living off his girlfriend's wealth. Documents about his bankruptcy attest to the fact that he owes $50,000 to the IRS and more than $1 million in child assistance. Hold on a minute. Have you noticed the number of rappers who owe child support? This fiasco inspired 50 Cent to get back at Young Buck due to the conflict that the two were reportedly engaged in. Number 2. Scott Storch. We have already witnessed how rappers waste money on illogical goods and interests. It was no different with Scott. With a net worth of $70 million, he reportedly has only $100 in cash and nothing more. With only $3,600 worth of assets, Scott has filed for bankruptcy. Drugs form the basis of most of his expenditures, nearly $30 million of it, and additional expenses include cars, houses, and the like. Number 1. MC Hammer. According to me, Hammer tops the list. Have you ever imagined having 200 people to call on to deal with everything you could think of? No? Well, Hammer did the unthinkable and employed 200 people for himself and had 40 attendants looking after him. He lived in a mansion that he got built on the luscious hills with about 40,000 square feet, 2 swimming pools, why though, and gates with golden plates. Maintaining 19 racehorses was a really big deal that just didn't seem to be a great expense to him. With a Lamborghini, a private jet, 2 helicopters, and a limousine, Hammer seemed to have blown all his riches right there. But wait a minute, he also had to pay for several ongoing lawsuits against him.